G'day everyone. We're all looking for the fastest and most efficient farms the further we get into the first Descendant. Just recently we got huge buffs to Greg's Reverse Fate, and we've seen the overall switch from the Tamer to the Enduring Legacy. With these meta shifts comes the costs of crafting, upgrading, re-rolling, leveling, modding, etc. And that is all expensive. With red and gold mods costing so much gold, you really do need to hit multiple birds with one stone, and I'm pretty sure I found that stone. Now, we've already covered the fastest ways to grind energy activators and crystallization catalysts, and the link for those will be in the description below, and our full First Descendant playlist is on screen now. Anyway, with the ever-changing meta and new and unique weapons filling up our arsenal, we need a lot of materials. We also need a lot of XP and a lot of gold. Now, in most games, and usually in the First Descendant, you'd be expected to do a separate farming method for each of them. But what if I told you that there exists a really great way to get Void Shards, XP, and gold in a quick and easy to farm activity? Pretty crazy, right? We also have the data to prove that this is really efficient and overall super beneficial for your account. Some of you probably know all about this already, but the mission that we're talking about is the Block Kuiper mining special operation in the Sterile land. It features 10 waves of progressively more difficult enemies that swarm objective sites. The mission has no objective besides eliminating all of the enemies each wave, which already puts it leagues above the defense missions currently available. While we go through the basic requirements and rewards, we'll also talk about how this mission compares to our current best individual farms. I'm talking about Bunny Cave, Large Nuclear Reactor, Abandoned Refinery Unit, and Anticipated Ambush Point. Let's start with the requirements. For Descendants, anyone with good AoE is more than okay for clearing this efficiently, and anyone with a movement speed boost can definitely help pick up drops faster. In order, the Descendants I'd recommend using here are Valby, Bunny, Lepic, Esiemo, Gley, and Freyna. Of course, other Descendants are perfectly fine here, and you'll most likely have one of these speed clearers in your team anyway, so pick whoever you want to level up or run with. You also need very little investment in your gear to clear these quickly. At most, I'd recommend using a catalyst or an energy activator, but as long as you have some decent mobbing capabilities and some survivability, you'll be more than okay. In this footage, I'm using a Valby with a single catalyst, and a decent-ish mobbing build that clears all 10 waves with relative ease. Now let's talk about rewards, starting with XP, which is actually really decent. You don't get as much per hour compared to something like Bunny Cave or Large Nuclear Reactor with optimized loadouts, but that's the thing, you don't need a max Bunny or a max Viesa to clear Block Kuiper mining quickly. And honestly, the XP rates here compare pretty nicely with about 1.1 million XP an hour from our testing. Next up, let's talk about gold. This number varies pretty wildly from our testing. I have some runs where I've gotten 2 million gold without a booster, and some runs where I've only gotten 600,000. But I can say with pretty high confidence that this farm yields around 4 million gold an hour, and that doesn't even include the best part, marks for arrest. Now these drop randomly. I think from enemies with modifiers, they appear as purple or gold material pickups on the ground, and they're the only things of this rarity that drop from Block Kuiper mining, meaning that if you see one, you should probably grab it. Standard marks for arrest can be handed in for a huge 100,000 gold, with each run giving out between 1 to 3 marks. In about an hour of grinding, that translates to an extra 400,000 to 1.2 million gold for free. Finally, we have the high value marks for arrest, which are the gold versions, and these reward a whopping 1 million gold, and they're pretty rare, dropping every 7 or 8 runs for us. Also, before we move on to the Void Shards, I want to talk about the gear that drops here, being none. Enemies will not drop reactors, modules, weapons, or external components here, which is bittersweet. I know a lot of people don't like having to clear their inventories every run when farming, but on the other hand, I know a lot of people who want these drops for the dismantle materials. It's either a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. Finally, Void Shards. Opening Void Reactors is one of the best and oftentimes mandatory ways to get certain equipment. It's normally a huge pain to grind out a bunch of amorphous materials, and then forgetting that you have little to no Void Shards for the right reactor. But since I started farming here, that hasn't been an issue. It's actually been such a huge boost to my in-game productivity. I'm way more motivated to grind amorphous materials because I know that I have the shards for it without actually having to grind them out manually. In about a 10 to 15 minute run of block Kuiper mining, I end up with about 55 to 60 Void Shards total, mixed across all four oh, that's rough to say. Mixed across all four fun flavors. Which, while not as good as actually manually farming them, they are slowly racking up in my stockpile for whenever I want to target farm a specific Descendant or weapon. And finally, I forgot to mention Kuiper. For a mission that's labeled as block Kuiper mining, you get no Kuiper. Maybe that's fair, you are blocking the mining after all. But in all seriousness, Kuiper is super easy to get. Most people will likely be farming code breakers to farm it anyway if they need it, so it not dropping here is kind of irrelevant. So, let's get some final tallies going up. For XP, we're looking really good here, with only a few meta methods beating it out, such as the Vesper's Void Fragment. For gold, we've got tons of gold rolling in, and the RNG chance of getting marks for arrest scratches a really weird gambling itch for me. Void Shards. Now, this is the best way to get Void Shards without slamming your face into the wall that is Void Fragments. This is 100% the easiest and fastest way to get Void Shards without doing fragments, and I wouldn't recommend wasting your time doing anything else. Just before we close out the video, I wanted to thank everyone for all the support and amazing feedback we've gotten across all of our first Descendant videos. It's been an incredibly wild ride for us, making content and spreadsheets and testing data and drop rates. I think I can speak on behalf of our small team here when I say that we're super excited to keep moving forward. We've hit so many milestones in such a short amount of time that we're all amazed beyond belief. Right now, I'm working on mapping out the data behind red or transcendent mod farming across 1,000 kills of the Devourer, and hopefully we'll be getting that out in around a week. We're also maxing out and testing some of the lesser used weapons to try and find potentially some off-meta strats for mobbing and bossing. But again, I wanted to give my thanks from our team for all the amazing support, and we hope to keep making useful and educational videos going forward that you guys want to see. Anyway, all in all, if you didn't know about this farm, try it out and see for yourself. I promise you that I'm not overhyping it. If you already did know about this farm, let us know what are the routes and methods you've been trying as well. And as always, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.